I'm Garol Orr. I'm one of the owners of 101 Mobility, Georgia, and Eastern Tennessee.
And I'm Bill Orr, and I'm the other owner of all of those franchises, and we enjoy being in the business.
We've been in business since 2013. I am a former national account executive for Coca-Cola, and I worked there for many years. Took a few years off and had a home business, and then decided it was time to look for the next thing. And I worked with franchises a lot when I was with Coca-Cola. And so I thought that would be a great way to find a business structure that would help me get into business faster. And so then we started the research. And I guess we can talk more about that, but you probably want to tell about your background.
Sure, I will. I spent many years in the energy business and was president and CEO of a couple different companies in the energy business. And frankly, that business, we traveled all over the world. And my girls came to me one day and said, "Dad, I want to go to one high school. I don't want to transfer once I start." So we were at that point in time in Providence, Rhode Island. And we had just come back from Hong Kong a year or two earlier before that. And it was great for the girls and their education. However, social issues became big. And so we agreed to come back home. And this was our home area. And so we moved back to Brazelton, and I started looking at franchise operations for her and was doing a lot of consulting.
And you probably looked through, I would say, I felt like it was 1,000 franchises.
Actually started with 7,600 franchises.
That we meticulously went through trying to find what seemed to be the right fit for us. And we found 101 Mobility, and I think that really spoke to both of us because it was something that we identified with because we've watched my parents deal with their aging parents. And then I think the other thing that was, there was a growing market. We had such a big market of boomers maturing, and so that was an automatic growing market for us too.
If you looked at the baby boomers, the number of people, I was very analytical about it, but the number of people retiring every year for the next 30 years, it was huge. And then you go 10 years out from that, and who survives to 80, 75 to 80? In that area, most everybody needs some help. And so when you look at it, it was a business where we could provide equipment, we could do things that, I said something to me, but I didn't have to be in the home caring for a person all the time. There are a lot of those franchises. This was one where we could solve their issue, save them money, and create an emotionally stable place for people to live in their own home.
I think the big surprise about it was it's so much more. We found people that needed these types of products for so many more reasons. So I think that was the big surprise once we got started in business. It wasn't long before that revealed itself.
And some of those things that we, through our own contacts, is traumatic brain injuries. It's not something that somebody ages into. It's something that happened to somebody. And we have the Shepherd Center here around Atlanta that really drove our learning of that. And then ALS, I had a personal friend when I was at Exxon who, his father went through ALS. He was the sheriff of El Paso, Texas. So that got us, and Garol's efforts there got us really focused and on the ALS Association. And those are things other than aging. These are things that happen, their onset, their problems. And most people don't know how to deal with them. They're surprised they occurred. And we can come in with some expertise, not only on the condition, but also on equipment that can help them.
Okay, personally, I'm going to say I never dreamed that I could work this well with my husband. Seriously, it's like we have different strengths, and it's worked out pretty well. I'm not going to say it's always been a walk in the park, but I think it's worked really well.
Well, sometimes it's a nice park, and sometimes it's a not nice park. But I would agree. We come at it from completely different perspectives. I come from, Exxon, the energy business, so very much engineering, math oriented. Carol Kent comes at it thinking about, she sold the ultimate products, right? It's sugar water made by Coca-Cola and a great brand. And she was very successful in that world too.
The absolute thing that we find most rewarding is just the feedback we get from customers. I mean, the way that we've helped them achieve things, whether it's some independence, overcoming problems. Sometimes we come up with some really creative solutions to be able to solve those problems. And that's not just rewarding to us, but it's actually rewarding to the whole team that works with us. I often think that our installers sometimes get the best part of it. Like when that moment when somebody is sitting there and they're getting trained on how to use their stair lift, and you see the smile on their face when they realize how much this is going to help them. Or the first time that person rolls outside on a new ramp that's been installed because it's been such a big effort to get outside, and in some cases are not getting outside at all. And just getting to see that moment when you realize that really helps them, it's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, I really think that's true. I really think about one of the first year I was really heavily involved in the business. So we had a vet who hadn't been out of his house for 7 years, except by ambulance. Somebody carried him out of the house on a stretcher or whatever. And Garol came up with a unique solution to solve their problem. They had a deteriorating front porch, they had stairs that were horrible. And then every other solution, according to the VA, wouldn't work that other people had tried, so they gave it to us because we were new. And we came up with a solution. We actually rebuilt their stairs and made them much more substantial, and then we put a curved stair lift on it so that he could come out of his front door, and it took a left-hand turn, and he could end up right where car was. The day that we finished that project, all his friends in the street knew this was happening, so they all came over. And when he came down the stairs for the first time, on his own, he was crying. He had tears down his eyes. And frankly, there were tears coming down my eyes. Everybody was crying because he all of a sudden had freedom. And that's the kind of thing that really drives you to want to do the next one.
We've had a lot of those kind of moments. I mean, I remember the first time that it was one of our first installations of double stair lifts, and we did it for a gentleman who was not able to get out of his home. He couldn't, it wasn't out of his home. He couldn't get to his bedroom, and he had young children. So they had made a makeshift bedroom for him in the dining room. We got the stair lifts in. He got upstairs for the first time in a long time, and it just gave him so much more independence, because the one thing he wanted to be able to do is to roll into his children's bedroom and say goodnight at night, and he hadn't been able to do that as a father in months. And that was important to him, and we gave that back to him. And I remember the elevator mechanic that installed that job, kind of a tough-looking dude, but he had some tears in his eyes when that was over too, and it meant something to him as a father. He understood what that meant.
I would say it takes more than one person to start a franchise, right? Whether they work for you or they're your spouse, right? And no matter how you look at it, there has to be complementing skill sets. And that's my view. And the other is leave your bickering at home, because if there's bickering, it just flows right into the office and everybody sees it. And it's not a good thing to be at the office. We actually I enjoy working with Garol. She can tell you what she thinks about it. But she has a skill set that is completely different than mine, and we just seem to work really well.
Yeah. I think it's like anything that you do, you need to surround yourself with people that support you and help you get things done. And if you're that kind of a couple, then I think it can work very well to, be able to run a business together. For us personally, we've had periods where I think I implemented the timeout, where we just need to stop talking about work and focus about other things in our, the rest of our life. But it's, you can figure it out, and we've enjoyed it. I think it's been fun to do. I think the cool thing about owning a one-on-one mobility franchise at the stage of life that we did this in, it was an opportunity to share this with our children. They both have been involved in the business indirectly. They understand what it takes to get a business off the ground. When our youngest daughter came home from college, she was out working B2B events with me, and it gave her a real sense of what this is all about, and got them involved in our oldest daughter right now actually currently works for us. So it's been something that we've been able to incorporate our family in. They understand, they hear about the issues in the business, they understand some of the challenges that you have in a small business, but they also hear and see the rewards too. So that's been a great thing to be able to share with our family. And we've created a whole new family here. We have people here that help us get this job done every day that, quite frankly, we adore, and we couldn't have done it without them.
See, I'm different. I wouldn't use the word adore. I like them. But we really have created it's true, right? We know about their kids. We know about the good things in their lives, the bad things in their lives. We're all knitted together through one-on-one mobility, and that's a lot of fun. And it's fun whether we're playing volleyball, whether we're working on a project, or we're having a barbecue out back, which we're going to do next Wednesday? For 4th of July. It's just, it's fun to get to know the families and to be part of it and create the environment we do where they can grow. And, as we've grown, our employees have grown. And we don't have a lot of people quit. We just don't. We've grown the business. So